All right, Hoyt, glad to have you here on board. I'm going to show you a little video. Sorry I can't record my face at the same time I'm recording my screen, but the reason I'm recording my screen is because the content is something that I couldn't really describe without some pictures. So this is a thought process that I prepared many years ago and then have refined and refined, and then ultimately uh, what you're seeing, I preached in South Africa last year for some meetings, and the series of meetings was called A Better Way to Live, and told the story about when I was a student missionary and went to an island called Joy Island. Maybe I should play this because I don't know how that's recording, but hopefully you'll see that. And that basically we want joy in our life, but the joy doesn't just come out of thin air. And just like an island, there's a whole lot below the surface of an island that makes it what it is, and that's a volcanic mass that pushes the island up. And we want joy in our life, but there has to be a whole lot more holding that island up, and there has to be a whole lot more supporting our joy in life than just the concept of joy. And what really holds up joy are these different elements. I call one the power tools, your relational truth, and physical truth, and then spiritual truth. If all those are in place, then your joy can be in place. But you can't really have joy without those components in your life. So let's take a look at what each of those contains. Your power tools is basically your reason, your will, your creativity, and your hope. And all of that is with this molten core, just like a volcano has a core of love. And I would say encapsulated in love and hope is somewhere our understanding of Jesus and grace and the salvation and what God has done, and our will is our choosing of Christ through reasoning out the gospel, and then that has interplay in our service and creative output. So those are our power tools, and then we have what is called relational truth. And relational truth is things that affect how we relate to other people. So we want joy and we shout at our kids. We want joy and we disrespect our employer. We're not going to end up with joy. If we don't play with our children, we don't have virtue in our marriage, or we don't show mercy towards our wife, joy is an impossibility. So these are truths that are universal truths relating to relationships that God has built in, that are, should I say, all components of love, and they are part of what God's kingdom is built on, and what whether you're a new covenant person or old covenant, I don't really see that as affecting this, because those are universal aspects that affect how relationships are built. So the next thing we see is physical truth. And so in physical truth, we have laws of physics and chemistry, biology, physiology, mathematics. And we see these laws. You're a biologist, so you understand that there are an infinite number of laws that humans live by all of the time, and we just take them for granted. But when people break physical law, so they jump off a building and they break physical law, they drink liquid Drano or something like this, then they come into confrontation that they are bound by a certain set of laws. Now you notice in this one I replaced the word love with law. That's because later I will build the case that law and love are two sides of the same coin, and we understand that they're in the relational truth. We like to think of relationships in terms of love, but really they are laws, certain laws of relationships that are foundational or key to having a positive outcome. And so we don't think about mathematics in terms of love or chemistry in terms of love, but law, God's love, when it's manifest, comes out in an aspect of law. There are boundaries, certain boundaries, and this is why when you see, like there's a television show right now called The World's Strictest Parents. Well, why is it that these kids are coming into these homes where there's very strict parents, and they come out, they're punk rockers, they're in trouble, they're drug addicts. They come into this foreign home and they receive strong law, but it's grounded in love and it has results in their life. And it's because law is love when it inhibits sin. So if law is set as a boundary to stop the development of wickedness in a life or the development of evil in a life, then that is love. So anyway, we'll talk more about that later on. So there are also other physical truths, and these are truths that affect the human mind and the human body. So physical truths of challenging your mind mentally. You grow as you see different colors and you hear different music. You see works of art. Physical exercise and brain chemistry and nutritional science. All of these are physical truth that particularly affects the human body. And then there is spiritual truth. And of course, that's the world philosophers try to figure out what is truth. But as I've defined it here, we see aspects of the truth of who God is, the truth of prayer, the truth of the meaning of life, and the truth of judgment and heaven and hell and demons and angels, law and grace. There is some truth there, and how people wish to look at it, whether you're an animist or a Buddhist, changes. And so we use the Word of God as the way to define what is spiritual truth. And so with that kind of as a background, I think, let me jump out of this slideshow and jump over here. In my talks, then I feature one of these subjects each night. And so, before I talk anymore, let me make sure I'm recording.